how do you go about building this dream team so that you can live a life of freedom and build this dream of yours? Well, today, my love, I am putting on my senior human resource professional hat because I am going to show you step by step how to build the ultimate dream team. Let's get to work. First, let's understand why building a dream team is so important to the success of your business and to the success of your dreams. It is not just about growing your business, right? Growing your business has a lot more to do with understanding your market and getting enough customers and delivering good services and retaining your customers and having the right products and services. It is definitely about reclaiming your time, making more money, and enjoying the freedom that you deserve. You will move much better and much faster when there are multiple yous to have in your organization. The fact of the matter is you cannot get to multiple six figures, definitely not to seven figures, until you start scaling and building a dream. So if you are right now all by yourself, you are a solopreneur, you are full-time in your business, and you are trying to figure out why you just can't get to that next level, I'm going to challenge you to really take a step back and think about the fact that you probably need to begin adding to and growing a team. Now, growing your team takes an entirely different skill set than what you may have been used to. And leadership skills is a whole different skill set in order for you to be able to get to that next level. In order for you to focus on freedom, you have to build a team. And building that team is going to take a step-by-step process, which I am getting ready to go over with you now, as well as a commitment to making the investment in that team. Now that we have gotten that lecture out of the way, let's dive into the steps of actually beginning to recruit, identify, and bring that amazing dream team on board. Step number one, now that you've gotten that mindset together, is to figure out who it is that you need. Now, this is very important for you to figure out for yourself who you need. Oftentimes as an entrepreneur, especially one who's never had employees or never had someone else on your team with you, you instantly want to go to what the standard operating things out there in the market tell you you're supposed to need. A VA, a social media manager, a marketing manager, all of those types of folks. Now, granted, one of the three things that I just named might be what you need. But my point is, you have to be the one to figure out exactly who that is. Now, there are three things that I want you to focus on in trying to figure out who you need right now in your business in order to get to that next level. Nowhere is it written that you have to have more than one person at a time. It is, however, extremely critical to make sure that that first purchase, right, that first team member that you bring on board is the right team member. And there's three ways that you can ultimately do that. First, I want you to dive into all of your SOPs. That's right. Dive deep into your processes. Now, you might be sitting here thinking, what you talking about, CP? What SOPs?
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about?
Well, if you're asking yourself that question, you're watching the wrong video. You need to go back and watch some of my building processes, how to create SOPs in your business, all of those types of videos that I've already done on this channel, because that is where you ultimately have to start. That, my love, is why I am such a big stickler for SOPs, because the SOPs will exactly spell out for you who you need to have on your team. You have to identify the responsible parties that are on those SOPs. So when you are creating your SOPs, as I've taught you before, there are kind of four columns that you're doing to building out the steps and all of the processes and the critical processes in your organization. The first column is all the steps that it takes to get something done. The second column is who is responsible for each of those steps. The third column is what assets or forms or templates or tools you need to get each of those steps done. And then the fourth column is how long you want each of those steps to take in order to create as much efficiency in your organization as possible. This particular building your dream team step focuses on that column that talks about the responsible party. And that is why I am telling you that your SOPs are going to be absolutely critical in making sure that you have the right team member. If you pull out your core SOPs, the core ones that you have created, because you have created them, haven't you?
Magic.
Of course you have. I'm not going to get on that soapbox again. Of course you have. Pull out your critical SOPs, open up and pull up that column that says responsible party, and begin writing down what you are looking for in that responsible party. What are the things that that responsible party is going to be responsible for? Once you've gone through your SOPs and you've bullet pointed out all of the responsible party section, then you will have a very clear picture of exactly who it is that you need in your business. So if you are pulling out your critical marketing process and your critical sales process, and you put out all the bullet points, and you've got, let's say, 8 or 9 bullet points that somebody on your team is responsible for, and you know that there are specific ones of those bullet points that you don't have the bandwidth to do, or that you shouldn't be doing because you can better be spending your time somewhere else in your business, then that is the beginning of who it is that you need. And you might look at those bullet points and say, hey, it really is a marketing social media manager that I need. It really is someone who can write emails. It really is someone who can sell on my team, or it really is an administrative assistant or a VA, or maybe it's somebody who can kind of do all of those things. Regardless, you have to take the time to figure out exactly what it is and who it is that you need. And the only way for you to do that is to ultimately pull out all of those SOPs that I've been teaching you all this time to create, and understand the skills that you need to get those steps done. Now, step number 2 in building this dream team, now that you know exactly who it is that you need, is to determine who you can afford. All right, this is a very big step, right? Because oftentimes you're going to pull out that SOP and you are going to potentially have 9, 10, 12, 13 different bullet points. And those bullet points are going to begin to clearly speak to you on exactly what skills you need, thus helping you create who it is that you need to bring onto your team. Now, our natural inclination is going to be, yeah, I need somebody that can do all 13 of these. But this is where determining who you can afford comes into play. Because if you truly are looking for someone that can do 13 different things, even if there are things that you critically need right now, you're more likely going to be paying more money, because typically someone who can do all of those things has more experience. So now it's time for you to say, all right, this is who I need and this is who I can afford, and meet somewhere in the middle. All right, meet somewhere in the middle, because if you really want someone who can strategize, who can create, who can post, who can brainstorm, who can handle a lot of different things in your organization, then you might be leaning more towards someone who might be outside of your price range. So ultimately, when you're looking at, okay, I only have this much money, so what does that mean, CP? Well, there are kind of 3 types of people that you might be able to capitalize off of in building your dream team. And I like to put people into these categories. So the 3 are entry level, mid-level, and then ultimately high level. All right, let me break down these entry-level people. Looking at those skills, if you feel like your budget really only dictates an entry-level person, I want you to know that that person will know the basics. They should know the basics, but they are going to need a lot of training and support from you. So you're going to want to be looking for someone that can ultimately help you get some of the more mundane and very minor things off of your plate, and that you're ultimately going to be willing to train and support as they continue to grow, because that is going to be the person that is more affordable for you. Then we get into the kind of mid-level person, right? This mid-level person is someone who's going to require some training and support, but they can definitely bring some knowledge that you may not have, or that you've already developed and don't have time to teach someone else to the table. That's going to be someone that's going to be more mid-level expensive, and you may look at all the stuff that you need after you've identified that person and say, it is going to be worth the investment for me to up my budget a bit, because I'd rather get someone who can bring knowledge to the table that I don't have to spend a lot of time training, right? And then it's going to bring you to that high level person. That high-level person will have the skills and they will be able to help you create and bring strategy and process to the table. Now, those people, I am a firm believer, are always worth the investment. But if you can't afford to make that investment, then it's okay. But I don't want you to get caught in the trap that I see a lot of people get caught in, where they want the high-level person, but they can only afford the mid-level or entry-level person. And then they go through this recruiting process where they're only talking to high-level people, and then they get to the end of the recruiting process and they say that they've only got mid-level or low-level money, and that high-level person will look you in your face and be like, girl, bye. Okay, girl, bye.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Of who you're going to be looking for and interviewing. Entry level are going to be the cheapest. Mid-level are going to be kind of like midway, probably most likely worth the investment. This is kind of where I would stick my toes in the sand. And then there's that high-level person that you will ultimately either be able to train your mid-level person into, or ultimately, as you grow your business, be able to grow your budget and then grow into that more high-level dream team member to get you to that freedom that you deserve. Now, step number 3 is to begin your hiring and recruiting process. Yes, recruiting is definitely a process, and I cannot stress this enough. Even though in my consulting practice for certain clients I have done full-fledged recruiting, executive recruiting in the past, it's not my favorite pastime, honestly. But one of the things I can tell you is that when you've got a very structured and strategic recruiting process, it is going to definitely reflect in who you're able to bring on board. And so take the time to really truly map out what that recruiting process is going to look like. I'm going to give you the 4 steps of a very basic recruiting process because I think that you deserve that and that you need it. But I want you to know that it definitely takes time to spell out exactly what the steps are going to be, because if you try to wing your recruiting process, you are going to turn off that high-level or mid-level person and really kind of force yourself to be stuck with an entry-level person that's going to frustrate you and that's going to need a lot of hand-holding. And that's the number one kind of pain point and challenge that I see new entrepreneurs making as they begin to build their dream team. So here's kind of the recruiting process that I think that you should employ. And I'm going to run through these steps really quickly. And if you want me to dive more deeply into a very specific recruiting process, then just put "give me recruiting process" in the comments below, and I will get to work on that video. All right. Step number 1 in your recruiting process is to create your job description or scope of work. Step number 2 is to post the position, share the job posting, and begin sourcing for your candidates. Step number 3 is to interview and vet them, which is a 3-step process that I use, which is phone screening, first interview and second interview. And then the 4th step in your recruiting process should be make a formal offer and begin the process of going through reference checks and background checks and drug screening checks if you choose. The recruiting process that you go through is going to be critical to who you attract and ultimately who you end up with. So again, do not wing this. And if you want me to dive deeper into specifics around recruiting processes, let me know by putting recruiting process in the comments below. Step number 4 in building that dream team is to onboard thoroughly and seamlessly. The onboarding process is so important, and I hope that you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Right? I am so serious. So many entrepreneurs and small business owners make this mistake. They do not invest enough time, effort, and energy into properly onboarding their team. There's no onboarding involved. There's no training. There's no orientation. And that leaves a very sour taste in the mouth of your new employee, and their performance will be reflective of that very initial experience. If you do onboarding half-ass, they're going to assume that they are working somewhere half-ass, and therefore they are going to give you a very half-ass performance. Oftentimes I see employers say, well, I recruited them and they said that they could do all of these things, and their performance and their work ethic has been lackluster. And usually it's because the example has been set by you, the employer, that everything around here is okay to wing, and that we really don't dedicate ourselves to growing a really good, thorough, hard-working team. What effort you put into your onboarding process will communicate exactly what you expect expect in the future from your staff people. So it is very important for you to put some time, effort, and energy into this onboarding piece. Now, the first thing in creating a good onboarding process and onboarding your team members seamlessly and effectively is to make sure that you have designed an effective onboarding plan. Spend some time to map out very specifically the first 2 to 3 weeks of someone's experience, from when they come in that very first day all the way until you expect them to be completely trained on your processes. If you take a time to actually map out your onboarding plan, it's going to very clearly show you where you have gaps and help you prepare to actually live up to this onboarding plan. Like oftentimes I will see people map out an onboarding plan and all of a sudden in the first week they're like, well, I need to make sure that I get them trained on this particular technology tool. But they've got no videos, no training, no step-by-step anything in place currently to train someone on this technology tool. Well, if that's what you have concluded you've got to do in week 1 of your onboarding plan, it's going to prompt you to begin to put together a training program for that particular technology tool. That training program might include you reaching out to your contact person at that technology tool that you pay for and actually scheduling a webinar for that new staff person to attend. Or that might include you going onto YouTube and doing some research so that you can give them 5 or 6 different videos to watch in order to know how to use that technology tool. That is what the beauty of designing an onboarding plan does for you when you are onboarding and orienting an employee. And that is why I say sit down and design it. Once you've done it the first time, it will be very easy for you to do consecutively, and it will definitely help you be prepared to make sure that that new hire and that new employee has what they need to make the first 2 weeks of onboarding and orientation fruitful for them and for you in your business. You also want to make sure that in your onboarding process that you foster a sense of belonging, that you've blocked off your schedule enough to spend time with the new employee, that you guys are going to lunch, that you're spending time recapping your day, that you're starting every single day connecting and talking to one another. That sense of belonging and sense of community is important outside of work, and it's even more important at work because you spend most of your time and your day at your employer. And if you have a new hire that you haven't set aside time to actually create a sense of belonging with, they're going to feel very left out, very lonely, and they're probably going to start looking for something else, or at least determine this ain't someplace I'm going to be long term, so I can do this job half-ass. So making sure that you're spending enough time and that you've set aside enough time personally to spend with this person is going to be critical in that onboarding. And then actually, the other thing that I think is absolutely critical in onboarding is the use of technology. And that brings me to today's sponsor for this video, Connect Team. Now, Connect Team is an absolute godsend, and it is what I use in my organization to this day. I have used various technology tools throughout my entrepreneurial journey. I've used it when I've got very small teams all the way up to one of my largest teams, which is about 70 employees, and Connect Team really gets the job done. Connect Team is an all-in-one solution for creating a large employer-like onboarding and employee experience, and it will be key to creating a company culture when you have team members who work and function remotely. Connect Team brings all of the things that you need to manage and conduct HR like the pros. It includes so many features like their time clock feature, which we absolutely love here with Team CP, which allows your employees to punch in, punch out, especially those W-2 employees, track their time, track how much time they're spending at work. The other feature in Connect Team that I absolutely love is the scheduling feature. If you are an employer that needs to set aside time for scheduling your employees and setting specific schedules, Connect Team can get all of that off of your plate and clearly communicate to your employees when it's time for them to check exactly when they should be punching in and when they should be punching out on a day-to-day basis. Another feature that is time off management. There's nothing like being able to have a professional experience when an employee needs to request some personal days, vacation days, or some sick days and time off. Connect Team allows them to go right in and request their PTO and have it sent directly to you for approval, for question, for review, or whatever it is. Connect Team includes onboarding and training features, which I absolutely love, including online training and video libraries. Again, that gets you through step number 4, making sure that you've got a seamless and thorough and effective onboarding and training experience for your new hires. But my absolute favorite software is the Connect Team app, where your employees and you can manage everything from the palm of their hands using their smartphones. It works wonders when you've got remote workers and people who don't necessarily work in the same time zones as you, where you can keep track and utilize some of the other features that Connect Team has, such as chatting with your team, accessing the company directory, as well as communicating any company updates and so much more. The best part about Connect Team, this software and this technology, y'all, because you know I ain't got no sponsorships, and you know I ain't telling y'all to go out and look at stuff that I'm not using or that is cost effective, is that this particular technology tool is free for small businesses with up to 10 employees. Their basic operating software is free. Now, obviously, there's going to be additional features and more upgrades that you can use when you actually upgrade to the subscription version, which is still extremely cost effective for small business. But Connect Team is the most powerful software that I have ever seen for employers that have less than 10 employees. And it really does allow you to manage employees from all types of organizations, from all types and places all over the country and all over the world. And ultimately, it allows you to handle your W-2 employees and the ones who are actually technically employed by you, as well as contractors or outsourced folks that you may be utilizing in your business. And I cannot tell you how important technology is going to be to creating that type of culture that means we do not do things half-ass around here, and ultimately we want to make sure that we're getting things done. So please make sure, if you are looking at beginning to build your dream team, you take a look at the Connect Team software. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we put the link in the description and in the comments below. Check them out. Go ahead and try it out. You will not be sorry, and you can absolutely shoot me a thank you very much, CP, in the comments below, because you know that Connect Team and I have got your back always. And that brings me, my love, to step number 5, building a company culture and communicating effectively. Building your dream team isn't just about who you hire and when they start and how well they're working. It's also about the culture that you are creating at your company. And oftentimes I hear small business owners being very fearful of who they have on their team, because they say things like, well, I can't compete with big business and I don't have the kind of money that big business is willing to pay people. And I am here to tell you that you can retain amazing employees and make yourself very competitive with larger corporations just by the company and building the culture that you can build in your organization. Now, building a great company culture means that you've got to make sure you are communicating effectively, that you've got communication platforms and practices, that you are handling conflicts and challenges well, that you understand the role of the company values and that you've created some for your employees to follow, and that you are encouraging teamwork and collaboration. By focusing on those 4 areas in the building of company culture, you will be well on your way to making sure that not only will you attract the right employee into your organization, but you'll do a great job at keeping the ones that you're already investing in. So by all means, make it a point now to develop those leadership skills that you need, that we talked about in the very beginning, and build that company culture to get you to the dream team that you so deserve and desire. And there you have it, my love, a comprehensive guide on how to start building that dream team that is going to support you and get you to spending less time at work, having more free time, being able to enjoy the freedom, and most importantly, being able to take this empire of yours into the stratosphere that you dream about and that you desire. If you've got any questions, make sure that you like and share this video. Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, my loves, I'll see you soon. Thank you for tuning in. And don't forget to check out Connect Team. Check out those links. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Mwah!